Well, Pixar's back with a new movie. Is it any good? Let's talk about it. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of Elemental, the newest film from director Peter Sohn. So, Elemental is, of course, the latest Pixar film to release in theaters, thank God. It's a film that basically shows us what it would be like if the elements, which include fire and water and air and so on and so forth, live in a Zootopia-style world, and how does that work? Well, in the process, we meet the Lumen family, who basically are immigrants from their own country and have traveled to this world to make a better place for their daughter, who's named Ember, who's voiced by Leah Lewis. Well, in the process of everything, Leia is going to take over her father's job because he's getting old. He's going to retire. And she comes across, by accident, this character named Wade Ripple, who is a investigator, kind of, in a lot of respects. And, of course, he's voiced by Mamoudou Athie. And because this is a very Pixar film, there is emotional aspects and stakes to these two characters being together. And it deals with, like, cultural change. And it deals with, like, how people's views can change when their offspring kind of transition into a much more, brighter future in a lot of respects. But it's also a story, kind of a love story in a lot of respects when it comes to these two individuals who are kind of bound by their own societies, who come together and try to kind of work and coexist with one another. So it's very much a Pixar film in a lot of respects. So it's definitely safe to say I am a huge Pixar fan. I have been for as long as I can remember. I go all the way back to the original Toy Story, seeing that in theaters. And this was a film that, unlike a lot of films, I wasn't really anticipating, to be fairly honest. And the reason for that is I don't think the trailers were very good. On top of that, Pixar has been kind of on the downward spiral in the recent years. I think the only thing they put out that I really liked in the last few years is Turning Red, which was the one film I was not anticipating to like, to be fairly honest. And it's the unfortunate nature of just, like, the stuff, they're under a lot of pressure. They need to create a lot of material. And they've had a lot of issues working with, the last, recent regime of the Disney executives. And so this movie was not in my most anticipated list at all. It really wasn't, which has never happened before with a Pixar film. Last year, Lightyear was in my top 10 most anticipated, and that ended up being a complete disaster. And so I went into this movie, still optimistic, wanting to like this. The reviews for this film were pretty decent, to be fairly honest. And so with that said, my review of this movie, Pixar once again puts out a very gorgeous, very beautiful looking film that you can find different things every time you watch it. And just watching how the technology is at a point now where they can create ultra realistic looking things, but also go into really creative detail when it comes to, for instance, the Lumen family, and using the kind of fire effects and kind of creating like almost like a pastel or watercolor style world when it comes to their characters, because of how the flames move and how they talk and how they coexist and how they manipulate the world with the fire that they have. I love the idea of, like, when she touches, like, Wade, you can kind of see the smoke and stuff like that. It's just really cool. It's really cool to kind of see they use the environment to, like, cool effects and stuff like that when it comes to, like, feeding people, and they get hit by water, they actually eat sticks or wood, and it allows them to, like, reburn into the back to their original self. It's a really creative aesthetic that they've created, that the creators and the director have put together. And it's the same thing with, like, the Wade Ripple and his family, where you can just kind of see the water just going down in driplets and stuff like that through his entire body. And you can kind of see, like, for instance, when he eats a piece of like Lumen's family's food, you see it go down his body, and you see it kind of smoking and stuff like that. And it's really creative and really neat. And I really love that Pixar can just do these things and just be so creative and make it so unique. And, like, once again, the water effects are so realistic, and there are things that certain characters wear that looks like ultra realistic, and it's a really impressive thing. I just wish the story held up to that impressive visual looking quality, because the story stinks in this movie. It's not very good. It's boring. It's two characters that really, I don't feel, have great chemistry together. The story of their love and romance is so forced and so idealistically done a billion times before. There's no real kind of incentive for these two characters to even be together. One character feels sorry that he did something to her family, his job and stuff like that, the location. It's just, I watch this movie and I go, what has happened to Pixar, and why is it they're only creating one good film every 6 or 7 years? I just think the magic's gone from Pixar. I think they've overstretched their hand when it comes to their creativity and storytelling. They bring in such interesting talent, but they're either trying to reach for the same story over and over and over. They're not reaching for anything interesting or new. You know, they've done like 30 such films at this point, and there is a level of quality that Pixar is known for that when they don't strike, they just don't strike very well, and it really, really shows here. But I think the parents have such interesting backstories, and the idea of them being immigrants and coming to a world where they want to provide for a better life for their daughter. It's a well-worn trope, but it's a very nice position to put in this movie. I just think Ember's character is so annoying and so just bland, and just she's always angry. Yes, she's a young adult, but it's just like they introduce a reason for why she's angry, and it just kind of comes out of nowhere. It just feels forced and rushed. And when Wade comes into the mix, I like I said, I don't feel like the two characters have any chemistry, and I'm not making jokes about the fact that he's water and she's fire. There is a level of voice acting that goes on here that just doesn't feel authentic when it comes to relationships and when it comes to the building of relationships. And when they're trying to build that relationship into something like a love and whole, it just feels like they go really quickly and they don't have time to stop. It feels like things are happening at like 100 miles an hour, and everything feels so off kilter and off center when it comes to like the storytelling and the ideas that are being presented, when it comes to like them, trying to coexist in this world that doesn't want them to coexist. I just didn't find that at all interesting. Like I said, when the visuals are much more interesting than the storytelling, you have a failed product in a lot of respects. And what Pixar has always been known to do is create that balance of like humanity and characterizations and development with their visual quality, and it shows in a lot of their films. That's why like the opening animated short that they do is Doug and Carl, and it feels much more what Pixar is known for, which is create a very humanistic approach to these characters and allow the world to kind of breathe but also be beautiful. And I think the world is beautiful here. I just don't think the underlying characterization and storytelling is very well done. I thought the music was all right, and I just feel, I hate to say this, I feel that Peter Sohn is just not a really, really great director when it comes to Pixar, because he creates visually awesome looking worlds like The Good Dinosaur, but here once again, the characters aren't that interesting at all. They really aren't. They very much tropey. It goes by the tropey book when it comes to that, and I just didn't find it that interesting at all. So it's an unfortunate thing. It's something that I feel sad talking about, because I love Pixar and I still will go see any Pixar movie because they've earned that goodwill. But the magic that was there at one point for Pixar every single year, it just kind of faded like an ember in a flame. That is a joke, but it's kind of sadly kind of taken away, and it really shows here. So this is definitely not a movie that I enjoyed at all, to be fairly honest. I was really bored, and outside of the visual aspects, it just didn't really do anything for me. So it's unfortunate. I'm not old, I promise. I feel like it was just not really that great. So but anyways, with that said, that'll be my take for Elemental, new Pixar film in theaters. Definitely check it out if you're interested, because it is still Pixar. It is still beautiful to look at. Just know going in that it's not top tier Pixar. It's kind of lower tier Pixar. So, but yeah, with that said, that'll do it. That'll be my take. Anyways, in the comments below, what do you think? Did you like it? Did you not like it? All that good stuff. But if you like this channel, awesome. Hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell. Top to fun's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.